All right, let's dive in. A bunch of you requested a closer look at AI and cybersecurity.
Yeah, seems like everyone's buzzing about it these days.
No kidding. So we've got a pretty meaty research paper and an audio discussion to pull from.
Sounds like fun.
It is, actually.
Hmm.
And our mission here is to make sure, anyone listening can really grasp how AI is changing the cybersecurity game.
Not just for like the big tech companies.
Exactly. For you, for me, for everyone.
And you know what's really cool? AI isn't some far off futuristic thing.
Right.
It's already here, working behind the scenes in our everyday lives. Remember that robot vacuum cleaner we were talking about the other day?
Oh, yeah, the one that keeps bumping into the couch.
That's the one. Well, believe it or not, that little guy is using AI. It's gathering data about your living room, making decisions.
So, like, mini Skynet cleaning my floors.
Aha, not quite. But it illustrates the point. These are what we call intelligent agents, machines that learn from data to do tasks. And increasingly, those tasks are all about protecting us online.
Speaking of data, the
Yeah.
research paper really hammered home just how much data we generate every day, right? And it's mind-blowing.
It is. Every time you buy something online, check your bank balance, scroll through social media.
Send an email, use a fitness tracker.
It all adds up. We're talking mountains of data. And for traditional cybersecurity methods,
Yeah.
it's a nightmare.
Like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Exactly. And those needles, they're the cyber attacks, the data breaches we hear about all the time.
Scary stuff. So how does AI even help with all this? Is it like having this superpowered security guard watching over our every move?
Not exactly. Think of it more like a digital detective.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So traditional antivirus software, it works by recognizing what we call malware signatures,
Right.
like fingerprints.
Uh,
But the problem is new malware, it's constantly evolving.
so the fingerprints are changing.
Exactly. That's where AI comes in. AI shifts the focus to behavior.
Interesting.
So instead of just looking at what the code looks like, it analyzes what it's doing.
Makes sense.
Let's say there's a program on your network trying to access files. It shouldn't.
Red flag.
Exactly. AI can detect those anomalies, those weird behaviors, even if the malware itself is brand new, something no one's ever seen before.
So it's like it can sense when something's fishy, even if it doesn't have a name for it yet.
Exactly. And this is a huge deal. It's the difference between reacting to a break-in and preventing it from happening in the first place.
Wow. So we're not just patching holes after the damage is done, we're actually stopping the bad guys before they even get in.
Right. And it's not just for organizations either.
Oh, good, because this all sounds great. But I was starting to think it was only for, like, big corporations with tons of resources.
Not at all. AI is already enhancing personal cybersecurity in tons of ways.
Really? Like how?
Think about password managers that suggest super strong passwords, or those phishing detectors that flag suspicious emails before you even open them.
You mean those things that tell me not to click on links from Nigerian princes?
Haha, well, that's one example. But yeah, a lot of these everyday tools are using AI behind the scenes to keep us safe.
Huh. I never really thought of it that way.
It's like having a silent partner working to protect your digital life.
I like the sound of that. But, the discussion we listened to also mentioned that AI can be used, well, offensively too.
Right, it's not all sunshine and roses.
Okay, so how are hackers using AI? Isn't that kind of counterintuitive? I thought it was supposed to be protecting us from them.
It's a two-way street, unfortunately. Think of it like this. Just as security professionals can use AI to analyze malware and find vulnerabilities, hackers can use similar techniques to create even more sophisticated attacks.
So it's like a digital arms race.
Exactly. Both sides are constantly trying to outsmart each other, using AI as their weapon of choice.
That's a bit unsettling. So it's not just about understanding AI, it's about understanding how it can be used against us too.
Absolutely. The more we know about how AI is being used by both the good guys and the bad guys, the better equipped we'll be to protect ourselves.
It's like we need to constantly be learning and adapting to stay ahead of the curve, right?
Exactly. AI is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for evil. The choices we make about how we develop and deploy AI will ultimately determine its impact on our lives.
Okay, so we've talked about how AI can be used defensively and offensively in cybersecurity. But the audio discussion also raised a really chilling thought. What happens if an AI system itself gets hacked?
Right, it's like we're building these super smart systems to protect us, but what if those systems turn against us? That's a scary thought.
It is, and it's a real concern. As AI systems become more complex and powerful, the potential consequences of them being compromised are enormous.
Exactly. And that's why security has to be baked into AI from the very beginning. We can't just focus on building smart systems, we have to build secure systems.
So it's not just about the technical capabilities of AI, it's about ensuring that those capabilities are used responsibly and ethically.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the concept of security by design.
Security by design, what does that mean?
It means that security considerations need to be integrated into every stage of AI development, from the initial design phase to the deployment and ongoing maintenance of the system.
So it's not just an afterthought, it's a fundamental principle.
Exactly. We can't just tack on security measures at the end. It needs to be part of the DNA of the system from the very beginning.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We've talked about how AI is already being used in cybersecurity, both for good and for bad, and the importance of building secure and trustworthy AI systems.
Right. And I think it's important to remember that this is just the beginning of the conversation. AI is a rapidly evolving field, and its impact on cybersecurity is only going to grow in the years to come.
So staying informed and engaged is crucial.
Absolutely. We need to keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep pushing for responsible and ethical AI development.
Well said. This has been an incredibly insightful discussion so far, and I'm really looking forward to diving deeper into this topic in our next segment. Okay, so before we went to the break, you were talking about this idea of security by design. Can you unpack that a little more? What does that actually look like in practice?
Sure. So it really starts with a shift in mindset. Instead of viewing security as an add-on or an afterthought, we need to think about it from the very beginning, at every stage of the AI development life cycle.
Okay, so it's like baking security into the DNA of the AI system.
Exactly. And that means involving security experts throughout the process, from the initial design phase all the way to deployment and maintenance.
So it's not just the responsibility of the developers, it's a collaborative effort.
Absolutely. And it's not just about technical expertise either. It's also about fostering a culture of security awareness among everyone involved in the project.
So like making sure everyone understands the importance of security and their role in maintaining it.
Right. And that includes things like establishing clear security policies, providing regular training, and encouraging open communication about potential risks and vulnerabilities.
That makes sense. But let's get a little more concrete. What are some specific things developers can do to build more secure AI systems?
Well, one key principle is what we call defense in depth. It's basically the idea that you don't rely on a single security measure, but instead you create multiple layers of protection.
So it's like having multiple locks on your door.
Exactly. And each layer should be designed to address different types of threats and vulnerabilities. For example, you might have one layer that focuses on securing the data used to train the AI model, another layer that protects the model itself from being tampered with, and yet another layer that monitors the system for suspicious activity.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all fits together. But with all this talk about security and threats, it's easy to get a little overwhelmed. Can we step back for a minute and talk about the positive side of AI and cybersecurity?
Of course. We've focused a lot on the challenges, but there are some truly amazing things happening in this field. AI is already helping us defend against cyber attacks in ways that were unimaginable just a few years ago.
Give us some examples. What are some of the most exciting developments you're seeing?
One area that's really taking off is threat intelligence. AI can analyze massive amounts of data from a variety of sources, like security logs, malware samples, and even dark web forums, to identify emerging threats and predict future attacks.
So it's like having an AI crystal ball that can see into the future of cybercrime.
Haha, not quite. But AI can definitely help us anticipate and prepare for new threats before they even emerge.
That's incredible. It's like we're finally starting to get ahead of the bad guys.
In some ways, yes. But the truth is, it's a constant game of cat and mouse. As soon as we develop new defenses, the attackers find new ways to circumvent them.
So it's back to the arms race.
Unfortunately, yes. But that's the nature of cybersecurity. It's an ongoing challenge, a constant evolution.
Okay, but let's not lose sight of the positive. You mentioned threat intelligence. What other areas are you excited about?
Another really promising area is automated incident response. AI can help us detect, analyze, and respond to security incidents much faster and more efficiently than humans can.
So it's like having an AI security team that's always on alert, ready to spring into action at a moment's notice.
Exactly. And this is especially important as cyber attacks become more sophisticated and more frequent.
So in a way, AI is helping us level the playing field against these increasingly sophisticated attackers.
It is, but it's not just about automation. AI can also augment human capabilities, helping security analysts make better decisions and respond to threats more effectively.
So it's not about replacing humans, it's about empowering them.
Right. AI can handle the tedious and repetitive tasks, freeing up security professionals to focus on the more strategic and complex aspects of their jobs.
This all sounds very promising, but I also have to admit I have some concerns about the ethical implications of AI in cybersecurity.
I understand. AI raises a lot of important ethical questions, and it's crucial that we address those questions head on.
Like what? What are some of the ethical considerations we need to be thinking about?
One concern is bias. If AI systems are trained on biased data, they can perpetuate and even amplify those biases, leading to unfair or discriminatory outcomes.
That's a serious issue. So we need to make sure that the data used to train these systems is representative and unbiased.
Absolutely. And that's not always easy. Biases can be subtle and pervasive, and it takes careful attention to identify and mitigate them.
What other ethical concerns are there?
Another concern is transparency. As AI systems become more complex, it can be difficult to understand how they make decisions. This lack of transparency can erode trust and make it difficult to hold these systems accountable.
So it's like we're giving these black boxes a lot of power without really understanding how they work.
In a way, yes. And that's why explainability is becoming such a crucial area of research in AI. We need to develop methods for making AI systems more transparent and understandable so that we can trust their decisions and ensure that they're being used ethically.
It's like we need to be able to look under the hood and see what's going on, right?
Uh,
Make sure everything is running as it should be.
exactly. And that's not just important for building trust. It's also crucial for debugging and improving these systems. If we don't understand how they work, it's much harder to fix them when they go wrong.
This is all so fascinating. But I have to admit, I'm also feeling a little overwhelmed. AI seems like such a vast and complex field. How do we even begin to grasp all of this?
It can be a lot to take in, but the key is to start with the fundamentals and gradually build your knowledge. There are so many great resources available online, from articles and videos to courses and podcasts like this one.
And what about for those of us who aren't tech experts? Do we need a degree in computer science to understand this stuff?
Not at all. There are plenty of resources that are designed for a general audience, and you don't need any specialized knowledge to get started.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to learn more about AI and cybersecurity, where should they start?
A great place to begin is by exploring some of the online courses and resources offered by organizations like Coursera and ADX. They have a wide range of courses on AI, machine learning, and cybersecurity that are taught by leading experts in the field.
And what about books? Are there any you'd recommend?
Absolutely. Weapons of Math Destruction by Kathy O'Neill is a fantastic read that explores the societal impact of algorithms and raises important questions about bias and fairness in AI.
That sounds really insightful. I'll definitely check it out. And what about keeping up with the latest developments in the field? Are there any websites or publications you'd recommend?
Websites like MIT Technology Review and The Verge have excellent coverage of AI and its implications, and they do a great job of explaining complex topics in a way that's accessible to a general audience.
That's really helpful. I think it's important to emphasize that learning about AI isn't just for techies. It's something that everyone should be engaged with.
I couldn't agree more. As AI becomes more integrated into our lives, it's essential for all of us to understand how it works, its potential benefits, and its potential risks.
So we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about the importance of security by design, the exciting possibilities of AI and cybersecurity, and the ethical considerations we need to be mindful of. But I think one of the most important takeaways is that AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
Exactly. And the choices we make about how we develop and deploy AI will have a profound impact on our future. It's up to all of us to ensure that AI is used responsibly and ethically to create a safer and more secure world.
That's a powerful thought to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we hope you'll continue to explore the fascinating world of AI and cybersecurity. As we wrap up this deep dive into AI and cybersecurity, I keep coming back to this idea of the human element.
Oh, absolutely.
We can talk all day about algorithms and systems, but at the end of the day, AI is a tool.
Right. And like any tool.
It can be used for good or for bad.
Exactly. And the choices we make about how we develop and use AI, those are going to have a huge impact on our future.
No doubt about it. So I guess the big question is, what role do we want AI to play in shaping the future of cybersecurity? What kind of world are we trying to create here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I don't think there's a simple answer. It's something we all need to grapple with as individuals, as a society.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype, all the cool things AI can do, but we can't lose sight of the potential risks.
Absolutely. We need to be having those tough conversations about ethics, about bias, about unintended consequences.
And those conversations need to happen now, not after the fact, right?
Exactly. We're at a crossroads, and the decisions we make today are going to have ripple effects for generations to come.
So what can we do as individuals? I mean, it all feels so big, so complex. Where do we even start?
Well, for one, don't underestimate the power of simply being informed. The more you understand about AI, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions about its role in your life.
So knowledge is power, again.
Haha, always. Read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, follow experts on social media. There's a wealth of information out there.
Okay, so we educate ourselves. What else can we do?
Support organizations that are promoting responsible AI development. There are some amazing groups out there doing really important work.
Yeah, like the AI Now Institute, the Partnership on AI.
Exactly. These organizations are on the front lines, advocating for ethical guidelines, pushing for transparency, holding developers accountable.
And don't forget the power of your own voice.
Oh, right. Talk to your friends and family about this stuff. Share your concerns. Write to your elected officials. Demand that they take this seriously.
This whole conversation has really been a wake-up call for me. I think I came into this deep dive thinking about AI as this cool, futuristic technology, but I'm walking away with a much deeper understanding of the stakes involved.
It's not just about the technology itself, it's about what we do with it, the choices we make.
Right. And those choices, they matter. They're going to shape the future of cybersecurity, the future of our digital lives, maybe even the future of humanity itself.
That's not hyperbole. AI is that powerful, and it's up to all of us to ensure that it's used for good.
I couldn't agree more. Well, this has been an incredible journey, and I want to thank you for sharing your expertise with us.
My pleasure. It's been a great conversation.
To everyone listening, we hope you found this deep dive insightful and thought-provoking. And remember, the future of AI is not predetermined. It's a future we're creating together, one choice, one conversation, one action at a time. Until next time, stay curious and stay engaged.